How does bankruptcy stop garnishments and creditor calls? Section 69 of the Bankruptcy Insolvency Act imposes a stay of proceedings that stops creditor calls and stops continuation of actions against a person who is bankrupt. A stay is nothing more than a fancy word for stop. Does bankruptcy affect my employment? Generally speaking, bankruptcy does not affect employment. However, there are some careers which are required to be discharged in order to be bonded, and in those situations, a proposal may be a better option. We can review this with you once we look at your situation. If I file bankruptcy, I can't cross the border. This is not true. Having a criminal record can affect you at the border. However, when a person files bankruptcy, they are not breaking the law. In fact, they're using a law and doing the right thing, acknowledging their situation. People often ask me, do I have to pay my 407 ETR bill? Purely from a technical view, Section 178 of the Bankruptcy Insolvency Act does not state that the 407 ETR debt will survive bankruptcy, and therefore it does not survive. However, some debts are best paid for practical reasons. A person will have problems renewing their driver's license if this debt is not paid. So, on a practical note, it would make sense to pay it. I often get asked, will I lose my income tax refunds? The answer is yes. The trustee will complete the tax returns for the year that a person files bankruptcy and for any prior unfiled years. Those refunds are property of the bankrupt estate and are available for the benefit of your creditors. They will be sent to the trustee and we'll distribute those monies to the creditors. What is the effect of bankruptcy on my credit rating? Bankruptcy, like anything else, affects your credit rating. The credit rating score at Equifax is a rating scale with R1 being the best and R9 being the worst. A bankruptcy is reported as an R9, which is the same as a judgment. It is important to note that proposals are an R7, which is slightly better than a bankruptcy. People often ask me, if I walk away from my house, can the bank still sue me? The answer is yes and no. A mortgage company that wants to commence power sale proceedings, which is the Canadian version of foreclosure, will still commence a lawsuit and will be able to obtain an order for possession of the property so they can sell the property. If they sell the property and there's a loss on the sale because they don't get adequate money to pay the mortgage, the shortfall is covered by the bankruptcy. So, a person walking away from their home will not have to go to court to defend the suit brought on for the power sale proceedings. We ask that they just bring the documents to us and we'll handle it from there. People often ask me, what is the effect on my co-signers? If you have a co-signer, the person who co-signed will be responsible for your debt if you don't pay. A proposal or a bankruptcy will not stop the liability of that person who is co-signed for you. What is the effect of a bankruptcy on child support and spousal support payments? If you have spousal and child support payments, you must continue to make those support payments, even during your bankruptcy. Your bankruptcy will not relieve you of this liability. The only thing that will relieve you of this liability is an order from the court varying your support obligations. Can I have a credit card if I'm bankrupt? The answer is no. Section 158 of the Bankruptcy Insolvency Act requires that all credit cards be turned over to the trustee, and it also prescribes that it's an offense to have credit cards while in bankruptcy. People often ask, will I lose my house if I file bankruptcy? Probably not. However, no one can answer that question absolutely except for your mortgage company. The vast majority of people who file bankruptcy are able to keep their homes. There are some mortgage companies who will not work with people and will not renew a mortgage if a person's been bankrupt. However, the vast majority of mortgage companies will work with people. Once I've had the opportunity to review your situation in detail, you will have a better idea of what to expect. Should I open a new bank account? I generally recommend that a person maintain a bank account at an institution where they have no other debts. So, for instance, if you've got a credit card with the institution that your bank account is held at, I would recommend that you open a bank account at a totally separate institution. Will my car lease be canceled if I file bankruptcy? No. New laws in force prevent this from happening if you are current and making your payments on the lease. Will my bankruptcy be advertised in the paper? The answer is most likely not. Most personal bankruptcies are not advertised, but all corporate bankruptcies must be advertised. This is because most personal bankruptcies are performed under a streamlined process called summary administration, which is designed to reduce the costs of administering the bankruptcy proceedings. However, in complex files, which will be administered as ordinary administrations, it is a requirement that the bankruptcy be advertised in the paper. For more details, please give me a call.